And we are live with another episode of the Keeg Talks. Today, the Keeg Talks, Stranger Things, Season 4, Volume 2. If that's not confusing, then great. You got a good grasp on how they did this season. We did Stranger Things Season 4, Volume 1 about a month ago, and now we're on Volume 2, and we're here to talk about it. I'm your host, Dimitri Pereira, and it's not just a one-person show, so I've invited two awesome guests. Today, first, I'd like to introduce Sierra Gaines, a.k.a. Quirky Kristen from TikTok. Sierra, how's your day going?
It's going good. It's very hot because I'm in Florida.
Yeah.
But it's going great.
I have a question about what would it be like if Stranger Things took place in Florida?
I don't even know. I would feel sorry for them because even though Georgia is hot, I can't even imagine them doing it in Florida. They would be sweating all day.
Yeah. Like, I feel like the Demogorgons would come out and it would just be like, is that just like a gator? Is that a gator?
Right. Right. Or
right,
the iguanas.
You guys got iguanas?
Yeah. And because I don't know what's going on right now, but they're invading. So there's like dozens of them.
Okay. Yeah. So it is kind of like Stranger Things.
Almost, yes.
Yeah, okay. Okay, cool. But I'm glad to have you. You do great TikToks, and I like your your pizzazz.
Thank you.
Do people say that? Is that real?
I don't even know.
Okay. I don't know.
Well, you're people. You just said it.
Yeah, I guess.
So there you
go. My second guest today is Mallory McDonald, a.k.a. Mallory MCD, which stands for a doctor. Is that what's MCD? It's McDonald, I know. I don't know. Master of ceremony with I don't know. Anyway, Mallory, how you doing?
I'm doing all right. I'm here in California where it's been hot, but not as like humid and hot as it is in Florida by any means.
Yeah.
But it's been cooling off today, so that's nice. I have the door open, which is nice because my cat right there likes to look out the window.
Good for you for having the door open. Whenever I do these shows, I turn off my fan and I close my door and I put up my green screen and everything's just insulated and hot. And my room's the hottest room in the house, so lucky me.
Oh, same here.
Oh yeah,
I know what's wrong with my vents.
Oh yeah, we haven't had AC in a while, so that's my house. We just deal with it. I feel like anytime I complain about California and like Southern California weather, like there's always someone from Florida being like, yeah, well, try 100% humidity.
For sure.
Yeah.
Trust me, it's so hot outside. I can't even go out there.
Yeah. I don't know how hot it is. I haven't been outside all day, but you know, it is what it is. But I'm glad to have you both here. I just thought to myself, like, yeah, what would Stranger Things be like in other states? Because it takes place in Hawkins, right? I don't know whether Hawkins is a real place. Is Hawkins a real place?
Well, they said it's Hawkins, Indiana.
Quote unquote.
So that's where it's supposed to take place.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. But it films in Georgia.
Yes.
I know that because I see that peach at the end. Let me ask you, where did you guys jump on the Stranger Things train right when it started in season 1?
No, I think I started watching like in real time, like once everything was already talked about. And then I was like, okay, what's the big hype? And so then I went back to like start it and ended up really enjoying it and just like binging the whole season.
Yeah. How long would you think? A couple weeks, couple months, a year after season 1 came out?
Probably a couple months for me.
Okay. That's fair. I think I was at a couple months too. Maybe like a month, maybe a month and a half. Because I thought it was going to be scarier and I don't do scary. And so, but then it became a phenomenon and I'm like, I have to jump on now. I got to jump on the train. I have a compulsion. FOMO.
I like scary, but the fact that it was scary and based on kids, because I'm an elementary school teacher by day.
Yeah.
And whenever there's like scary movies that have incorporated kids, I was like, I don't know about that. You know, I've already seen The Exorcist. I don't want to go through anything like
that. Yeah. My concern was like, how bloody would it be? How gory would it be? Would they kill innocent people? So the answers to that is like, it's not too bad, but yes, they do. The answers to my own questions. Sierra, what about you? Were you on that train right when it left the station?
No, I have like the same thing as her. So like when it first came out, I was in high school.
Yeah.
So I think it was like viral that Millie Bobby Brown, she was like that she was shaving her head. So I was like, I wonder like that's really cool for a little kid to be able to do that.
Yeah.
So then I was like, I don't know if I should watch it. And then I see my sister watching it and I'm like, I think it's time for me to jump onto this. So then I watched it and now I'm obsessed.
Yeah. I think I was doing a play at the time and then people were talking about it. I'm like, okay, I guess I got to go home, watch it, binge all of it, and then come back and we could talk about it. Yeah. I mean, I liked the first season. The first season was great. It was like, I don't know if anyone has any like huge flaws, huge critiques with the first season though, but I liked it.
Oh, I loved it. Yeah, I loved the first season, but season 2 is like my all-time favorite season.
Is it?
Yeah.
Huh. Wow.
Why?
I think the first time I've heard that. Can you explain why?
Yeah, tell us why.
I feel like I'm the only one that likes season 2. Okay, so, we got introduced to Max, we got introduced to Billy, Bob, I mean, even though we lost him, but...
Was Bob season 2? That was season 2, huh? Yeah, that's right.
And then we also got introduced to Elle's sister. So, like, it was like, like a lot of, like, new people, so which was exciting. And I feel like a lot of people, I've seen a lot of people say that season 2 wasn't all that good because of the episode with Elle's sister. They felt like it was unnecessary. But I feel like that episode was very much needed because it showed Elle's growth and how she took control of her power.
Look at where they went with that, where they show all of the numbers, without her, and knowing that there was somebody like her, we wouldn't have what we had in season 4.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So it's just, and then Will's performance in there, Noah did his all in that season.
Yeah.
Like, I'm so glad I have it on tape.
That was, I mean, more like The Exorcist, right? Like, yeah, like because he was possessed, right, by the mind flayer. We'll go into what like there was a big retcon that happened in this volume that I still need to like work out in my head. Like, I mean, I guess it's not spoiler alert. I mean, we're doing a lot of spoilers in this episode. Yeah. It was Vecna all along, kind of thing. Like that was the retcon, that it was always him. Mm-hmm. I'm still.
Do we have clarification of that though?
I mean, that's what he said.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But he is manipulative. So is that what he's telling Elle? Or is that the truth? Or was there some kind of possession there with the mind flare that he was speaking out of? There's so many questions.
Yeah. By the way, just so everybody knows, we are streaming out to 3 live stream platforms: volume.com/The Keeg Show, twitch.tv/The Keeg Show, and youtube.com/The Keeg Show. We got music vibes out there on YouTube in our chat saying that they started watching it the day it was released, which is crazy. Wow. They were like day one. On Netflix. So that's crazy. They were there when the train was leaving the station. Maybe they they were the conductor. Who knows? Maybe they're viewer 0. If that's what you want to call it. Yeah, I mean, the whole retcon thing kind of is throwing me for a loop, and I mean, we'll talk about it. But what has been everybody's favorite season up until this point? Sierra said season 2. I personally, I like season 3. I think the best. I hate Billy, so it was nice to just see him as like a literal monster. I hate Billy so much. I love Max, and I feel like Billy and Max get introduced in season 2, and they don't really do much. And then season 3, like they're like full steam ahead. So I think I like season 3 the best.
Yeah, up until this season 3 was my favorite also for similar reasons. I really enjoyed Max. I even forgot the other day when I was thinking about when she was first introduced and thinking like 11 out of jealousy makes her like fall off her skateboard. I'm like, you're so mean to her.
Yeah.
Because she thought that like Mike liked her or whatever, or might like her. So they've had a journey, and I really liked that in season 3. She kind of like took her under her wing and was like, no, come on. Like, it's not worth all of that.
Right. I love the scene or the episode or whatever in season 3 when it's just like them two, just Max and 11 just being friends and like being besties and being like, we don't need boys. And like, I thought that was like super cute.
That was good.
Yeah.
And I love the outfits from that season.
The outfits. Yeah.
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 It was like iconic 80s, just the mall and everything.
Yeah. Yeah. It was weird when they went like, oh, it's not only a mall, but it's a Russian front of like, they're underneath the mall. The Russians are everywhere.
That was a stretch.
Yeah. Did we need the Russian plot? I don't know. In season,
I think it was to set up obviously Hopper's story in season 4.
Right.
Like I think it was one of those plot holes that they're like, we've got to put it somewhere.
Yeah.
True.
Yeah. Music Vibes on YouTube says, "Hey Sierra, it's Tammy." So there you go.
I think that's my aunt.
Your aunt was a day one. Like, okay, cool. Yeah, I think season 3 was my favorite. So it was interesting going into season 4 with this, trying to like live up to that in my own head. I guess for Sierra, it was living up to season 2, which is fair. But how did you feel about this weird volume split? Let's talk about that, because they released, 7 or 8 episodes?
Yeah,
7.
7 episodes in volume 1 that were all like variable lengths. They were just all over the place. And then volume 2 is 2 episodes. The first episode is an hour and a half, and the second episode is 2.5 hours.
2 hours. Yeah.
It was exhausting.
It was.
I loved it though.
How did you two feel about that?
Well, when volume 1 came out, I didn't binge watch it all the way through. I think I watched half and half. So I watched 4 episodes the first day, and then the last 3 the other day.
Yeah.
So I didn't really like it. Was nice that way, like not binging it all the way through.
Right.
And I kind of like the split of volume 1, volume 2, because like even though I was kind of worried going up until volume 2, like I felt hyped for volume 2 though.
Right.
Yeah.
I have my opinions about binge releasing seasons. So Netflix tends to binge release. And I don't mean binge watch, because like I feel like binge watch is a term for like what we choose to do. You can you can binge watch anything like a season after, like you can binge watch New Girl, right? New Girl though released every single week back when it was on TV. Stranger Things and Netflix shows tend to binge release, and then technically you could watch an episode every week if you wanted to, but then by that point you're like behind everybody, so you're kind of forced to binge watch with a binge release. I'm not a fan of it. I like weekly episodes.
I would have said that even if they did, and I don't like that they're labeled like volume 1, volume 2, volume 3, or whatever.
Yeah.
I would have honestly liked if they, because I have no self-control.
Yeah.
So I need somebody to tell me what's okay to watch. So if they did like the first 3 episodes, then 4, and then the 2 or 3, 3 and 3, because it was 9.
Yeah.
I felt like that would have been better. Like if they did like 3 episodes every 2 weeks, that would have helped, because I did binge watch the first 7 episodes. Because like I said, I have zero self-control.
Yeah.
And because it's so good and all of the acting is so quality, I think the difference for me between, because I really liked season 2, but but there was a lot of plot points. There was like a lot of new characters, and there was like this was going on, and that was going on, and this was going on, but none of them really connected to each other in a like organic way.
Yeah.
And as in this one, everything was so well acted and so well shot, and those transitions between where we're going to follow these characters were seamless, that it just made you so invested that you were just like, I need to keep on watching this.
Yeah. I like weekly releases because I need to be able to think about what I watched, and I like to be able to, in my head, be like, this was episode 1, this happened, episode 2, this happened, episode 3, this happened. And this doesn't really give that to me. Plus, with a weekly release, like the 3 of us, we're on TikTok. Like, TikTok memes, great content. Instagram content, TikTok content. I need the memes. I need people like giving their theories. And you're not able to do that until between volume 1 and volume 2. Or if this was all one release, we would have to watch everything. We can't joke about things in the middle. We can't tweet about things in the middle. You got to like wait for the end, season finale, then talk about it and make your jokes. And that lasts a week, and then it's going to die down.
Yeah.
You know?
No, I feel that for sure. Because there's some really awesome parts within the first couple of episodes that just get like completely thrown away or are like unmemeable because in comparison to, let's all say it, Eddie Munson, everybody has zero interest in anything else.
Has Eddie been a fan favorite for everybody? Is that?
That's what I'm seeing all the time, which honestly, as somebody who was born in the 80s, grew up in the 90s and early 2000s, I still have a lot of metalhead friends. So that like exposure and making somebody who I know wasn't popular back in those days, the underdog, which they seem to do, you know, in especially shows like this, and making them like the forefront of everybody's like, oh my gosh, this is so cool. And it was hilarious to see that scene between, you know, Christy and him, because it's that weird dynamic of, and people forget sometimes that this was set in the 80s. That doesn't happen. We don't have a cheerleader hanging out with a metalhead. That's what makes that so special.
Yeah.
That was one of my favorite scenes too.
Of them hanging out?
Yeah.
He grew on me because the first scene we see of him, I did not like him. Like the first scene in the cafeteria, because he gets physical and aggressive and weird with Mike and Will. So I'm just like, he's just another like dick. And then like he grows on you, right? He has like, but that's already cemented in my head.
But let me tell you a secret. Most metalheads are, which is hilarious because, like I think about it and I'm like, would these people who are hyping him up so much really like the person if it wasn't a character on their favorite TV show played by a really hot actor, you know?
I also don't want to yuck people's yum, but I just don't like his wig either. He's a handsome guy when I see him on the red carpet, when he has his like normal hair. Great, good for you. Let the
he's bringing mullets back.
I am not a fan right now. I'm not a fan of that wig, but you know, different strokes for different folks. But like, I mean, do you feel like we brush over bad writing when we binge watch things because we're just like rolling through everything?
For sure.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, when you give somebody, like, for instance, if you watch a 1.5 hour movie, you're going to really be like meticulous at looking at everything that's going on there because it was just an hour and a half. And then if you're watching like a 3 or 4 hour movie, there's some parts in there that you just like, oh, whatever, like it doesn't stick out to you. So it doesn't matter.
Right.
You know, and so you can be way more forgiving of like it being a plot hole or it being bad writing or just being like, really, is that what the character would do or say in that moment?
Right. Because there are some weird and awkward spots in this show that are okay. How'd you guys like Volume 1?
I love it.
Really?
That's when I was introduced to my love, Eddie.
Yeah.
That's the man of my dreams.
Everybody loves Eddie. I get it.
Honestly, go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say, I just love that volume.
Yeah.
Volume 2 just broke me.
Yeah.
My favorite part of volume 1, even though I'm repping Eddie and stuff, we'll get into that later as we talk about volume 2 and why I even decided to put the shirt on today.
Yeah.
I fell in love with Max.
Yeah.
I felt like she really got fleshed out. Like, it was great to see her. Like, she came in just like as this cool, like, gamer skater girl. And then she became Elle's best friend and really like helped and encouraged her to just be a very independent person. Because that was the thing, is we forget that like everyone's like, oh, misogyny, whatever. But it wasn't misogyny based for Elle. It was the fact that she like knew no other man than this guy who treated her poorly, that she called Papa. Yeah. You know, and then she met Mike, and that's where their tie like founded. He was kind to her and all this stuff. So when he was dealing with this stuff, she was like, wait, I'm losing sense of my reality. And Max really instilled that back into her, and her like independence of being like her own person. And then to see the struggle that Max went through with seeing her brother, because as bad of an awful person he was still her brother.
Yeah.
You know, and seeing her struggle with that and really getting to connect with her, like from episode 1 of this volume, was really cool.
Yeah. Like I said, I hate Billy, so I'm glad he's dead. And yeah. I'm a firm believer that he's not redeemed. He's just...
he was an unredeemable character.
Yeah. Characters that die, they don't get redeemed automatically. Like, the dying part is easy, I guess, in real life and in fiction. But like, the question is, did it you not only have to the good has to outweigh the bad, you have to make up for the bad. I don't think Billy did that. But it was a great season for Max, volume 1 and 2. Like, Sadie Sink hit it out of the park.
I really hope she wins some awards, because that Dear Billy episode was amazing.
Which one?
Dear Billy.
Oh, yeah. Episode 4, I think.
Yeah.
It was crazy. And that probably was my favorite episode of the season, I would say.
Oh, yeah, me too.
And that's when we get introduced to, or reintroduced for some people, to Run Up the Hill or whatever. Is that the song?
Oh, yeah.
The title of the song? That's literally on like half the TikToks out there, and it's always in my head. It is stuck in my head.
I have never stopped playing it ever since that episode.
And I'm so happy for Kate Bush. Like, I hope she's like raking in all the money.
2.4 million, I think, is what she got off of this show alone. Who knows whether TikTok's paying her? Because it's
they better be.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
I think the best meme I've seen of it is they did the Back to the Future meme where it's like, oh, you guys don't get it now, but your kids are gonna love it.
Yeah. Yeah. That's where like I have a lot of hope for, like as we listen to music and some songs or bands or artists don't like catch on now, I always hope that like in 20 years or in the next 20 years they get introduced on like a movie or whatever, and then like they, people love them then. Because it's kind of sad sometimes, because bands put a lot of work into their albums and whatever, and then if they don't catch on, it kind of sucks.
Yeah.
And I hope people do go and listen to the rest of her music, because the rest of her music is really awesome. It's really cool.
I haven't listened.
I was a fan back in I found her in the early 2000s. And because I was very much a very indie person, I loved listening. I'm very music based. I played my instruments and everything like that.
Yeah.
And so I would always try to find different bands that I love. And if I heard a song, because my go-to place to find music once it became available to us on our phones was Pandora. And I love the fact that they're like, oh, you like this? How about this? How about that? And you can thumbs up it. And it kind of creates a place for you to discover new music and be like, oh, I didn't know I liked this. Let me thumbs up and see what else happens.
Yeah. Yeah. I'll have to go and listen to her stuff.
I think there was another song that was actually someone took it and remixed it. I heard it on TikTok before. It starts with a B. I don't remember.
With what in this show?
No. Like just Kate Bush with another one of her songs. I remember it trending on TikTok. I just don't remember the name.
Good for her. Good for her. There were 3 songs that they kept playing this season. This was one. There was Past the Duchy, which they were just always playing with Argyle. And then there was the one in the trailer and in the final episode. But they did like a spooky version. It's Someday Love Will Find You, right? Someday, I don't
remember.
Yeah, it's Separate Ways by Journey. Worlds Apart.
Oh, okay.
Okay, yeah. But they did have a spooky version that they played in the trailer and then they played in this final episode, which I can't get enough of that version either. So good. Another time this happened was, if you guys saw The Batman, the Nirvana song like went to the top of the charts because of that movie, which is just another example of like something modern taking something from the 80s. Which one?
Well, it was hilarious.
Something because, in the way. Something in the way. I know enough to gibberish it. Something in the way. Yeah. When he's like, just like Robert Pattinson's just on the bike being moody.
Yeah, a lot of movies do that. Like the way I can like all my nieces and nephews are like Gen Z and stuff. And so they'll sing something and I'm like, what did that just come out of your mouth? Like for instance, for me, like just the other day, my niece was singing like a No Doubt song, and my first concert was No Doubt.
Yeah.
And I was like, how do you know the song? She's like, oh, it's in Captain Marvel. I was like, oh my gosh.
Oh, yeah.
So funny.
Yeah, you're right. Because anything James Gunn or Taika Waititi, like...
They put that in there.
Yeah. Right, because like Thor Ragnarok had the Immigrant Song, right? James Gunn had 2 whole albums of past like music. Volume 1 and Volume 2. Oh, I can't wait till Volume 3. So, I mean, the music really makes it. And so it's good in this show that we have that music. And I hope they're getting the money from it.
And I'm not trying to skip ahead, but we'll talk about what Eddie plays because that's one of my
goodness.
Oh, I have
one
no
of my
idea.
favorite songs, one of my favorite riffs. Oh my god!
I have no idea about metal. What does he play? I mean, we could talk about it right now. We're just talking about the music. Like,
oh my gosh, Metallica! He freaking plays Metallica. Okay. Master of Puppets is what he plays.
Okay.
Which has one of the best solos. And it was funny because on my TikTok, because they know who to aim for, they had a bunch of different people talking about like, because there's a bunch of metalheads on there and I'm part of like metal TikTok, and they were all trying to guess what he was playing.
Yeah.
And looking at his fingers and looking at to see like, hey, what is he playing? And I know there was a couple of things. I know a lot of people wanted him to play Iron Maiden because one of his bandmates was wearing an Iron Maiden. Also, like there are so many places that Eddie could have stemmed from. First of all, Eddie Munster, because it sounds like Eddie Munson. And it is because I think they were playing like a actual like Wolfman song when he was introduced, like in the background, if you can listen to it. And then also Eddie from Iron Maiden, the guy with the skeleton and the crazy hair, that's Eddie. And then of course, Eddie Van Halen.
Yeah. Yeah. I think of Eddie Van Halen, but yeah.
Yeah.
I'm not a big metalhead, so I'm glad you got something out of it.
That was my first time hearing that song, and I think I'm gonna have to like actually listen to it fully because I loved it.
I'm like, everyone go back and listen to some Metallica. It will like I listen to Metallica when I work out. I listen to Metallica and all my metal stations. I love like one of my favorite bands is Iron Maiden.
Yeah.
So I'll just put that on and just like go for a drive. I hope that like, and that's even with like what happens to Eddie. I'm like, I see all these people like in an uproar. I'm like, put all that into like going and supporting local artists that are metalheads. Like if you need to know any, hit me up on my Instagram. I know local artists around here and in like the East Coast if you want to go catch a metal show.
Are you doing TikToks on that? You should do some
I should. I know. I should.
You know, you like Eddie. If you like Eddie, you should check out these bands.
Yeah.
Get people who love it onto that.
Yeah. Well, and especially because I see a lot of people just angry, and I'm like, put that anger into like some like passion of, because like this was a character. We gotta forget, like that was not the actor who died.
Yeah. Yeah.
Spoiler alert.
Yeah.
But this character, you know, resembles that of actual artists that are trying to still make it, you know, while they're playing, and you can also like give money. And I mean, there are bands that are still touring. If you want to go all the way back to 80s metal, like they're old and stuff, but they still play good.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, like I know a lot of my friends, we would talk and we'd kid around. Like one of my like close friends, he's in a metal band, and he's actually in a metal band that does English and Spanish, which is really cool.
Oh.
So he does like a rock and español.
Yeah.
And I was at one of his gigs and stuff, and he was like, dude, like he goes, I like that Eddie made me relevant again. I was like, oh, are you getting lots of girlfriends now because they're all like thirsting over him?
It's nice when they can bring stuff from the past back in and be like, and like we can kind of like a renaissance, so to speak, of like a specific thing.
And an unconventional type of like liking of a person, because I always say when people say, oh, you look like so and so, oh, you like remind me of this actor, or different things like that. For me in acting, it's great because of casting. If I can remind you of a certain person, one of your favorite actors, you can kind of mesh that into what I can do in my performance.
Yeah.
But what I always say is people never know what they find attractive until it's shown to them.
Yeah. Yeah. You gotta put it on the menu. You know, you can't order it until it's on the menu. Yeah. So I'm in my head, I'm thinking about this volume 2, episode 8 and episode 9, and I'm thinking I don't remember what happens in episode 8. I just think about like everything. And again, this is kind of the problem with this kind of release thing. Again, I don't know why they released it this way. I think it might have killed the momentum coming out of episode 7, because then we had to it was a month, and then we kind of got back into it. But let's talk about this volume and the things and the crazy things that happened to it. It's 4 hours. 4 hours of sitting there watching it. And like the way that I can explain it is that final episode being 2.5 hours is literally a movie length climax to a series where it's just everything's up, and like
it never even came down.
It's so exhausting. It was so exhausting.
Left you up there.
Yeah. Where does episode 8 even start?
I'm not gonna lie, I don't even remember. I only remember like the most major parts.
Do we start episodes. In Russia?
There's multiple storylines, right? So like Russia.
The kids driving down from where the Nina project was.
Yes.
The kids already in Hawkins.
Right. So there's multiple groups, right? There's Joyce and Hopper in Russia with the Russians. There's the kids who are coming. And Murray. Oh, I was so certain. I thought Murray was gonna eat it, by the way.
I thought he was gonna die too.
Yeah. When he's up on that ledge after like flame throwing, I thought there'd just be one that would just eat him and be like, all right, there's Murray. There's the van coming from Susie's, right? This is after Susie's because she's decoded.
They're going to the Nina project,
They're going to the Nina project. There is 11 in the Nina project. And then there's
the group of kids with Nancy and Steve, because Nancy and Steve and all of them doing the parallel to the Upside Down,
Oh, it starts off with Nancy. She's Vecna has her in her head, and I thought is he gonna kill her or whatever? But then he's like, no, give her 11 a message, right?
I'm very surprised that he didn't kill her though.
Yeah.
Like, how did that not happen?
Yeah.
Like he had her right there. He could have just killed her.
And then unlocked that 4th gate
Yeah, because she had trauma from Barb. So
yeah.
I don't understand.
The way that transition went, I thought that they were going to do something better with that because, like, for me, as one of the early on Justice for Barb people,
yeah,
because I love that character, you know, like,
Me
and that's
too.
the funny thing about it is she was kind of my Eddie back, like then, where I instantly was like, she was the underdog. I felt really bad that like Bart was just like left out while they were all partying. She was hooking up with Steve and everything.
Yeah.
And so like when they showed that glimpse into why Nancy had all of that like regret, I was like, oh my God, what are they going to do with this? And then he like, just like, oh, go ahead. Like you can go.
Yeah. Like that didn't make any sense. That's a flaw right there.
Unless like to open the gates, he would have to like do his whole process, and he didn't do the process to Nancy.
What do you mean?
Like the whole process of like the clock appearing, the whole build up, and the like. You got 2 days left before I like twist you up.
You know? Yeah, I see that.
Maybe. Also, I'm gonna come out and say it. I don't like Vecna. I don't like that guy.
Of course
not that I like. I'm talking about the character as a whole. Like, I'm just not a fan of him as a villain. I don't really care for him.
Mm-hmm.
And with the retcon that was like him all the time, if we're gonna take that at face value.
Sorry, there's an ice cream truck going by my neighborhood.
Is there? I can't hear it.
Okay, good.
Can you grab me a bomb pop while you're there?
Okay.
Yeah. I just think he's kind of a lame villain.
I see what you mean. I feel like he is a weird mashup of two really amazing villains, which Freddy Krueger and Darth Vader. Like, I feel like they tried to work these weird two things. Like, he made a connect. Like, I knew that he obviously was going to be one, or at least one of the kids from there, because early on they made a very prominent connection between him and Levin. I'm like, oh, I said, if he's not her dad, then he's going to be somewhat irrelevant. You know, we're doing a whole like thing like that. And I was like, okay, so where are we going with this? But I understand that. Like, I understand that, like, you not liking him as a villain as a whole.
Yeah. I just think I don't like his face. That's also another thing. Not Vecna's face, the human actor's face. I just don't like Vecna's face is an improvement. You know.
Just dogging him.
No, I mean, I don't know. There's kind of the twist, like I knew that he was a bad guy. But I think the twist in Volume 1 that he was the kid, that was the twist that hit me. I was like, okay, all right.
Yeah.
That twist. But I was like, looking at him, I'm like, he's obviously a villain. Look at him. Like, he has such a villainous face. Oh, I thought he was a figment of Eleven's imagination in the beginning part of Volume 2. Because nobody was talking to him or whatever except for 11. And like, because that's just such a movie trope, I just keep an eye out for it. I'm like, are they gonna Bruce Willis this? Or are they gonna be like, nah, he's been dead the whole time? But then they were like, okay, no, they are interacting with him. So there goes that theory. But like, not a big fan of Vecna. I can see how like Vecna is Freddy Krueger. But the Vader thing, are you saying like Vader because of when it's like him and 11 fighting? Like, with their psychic powers and stuff.
And I thought, like, because for me, that whole scene played out very much in that, like, aspect of, like, okay, who's more powerful? Who's going to use the Force? You know, the strongest? Who's, you know, and it wasn't like a good versus evil type of thing. Yeah, you know.
Yeah, I'm seeing more Voldemort, but maybe it's because he doesn't have a nose.
Yeah,
that could be it. Yeah, you know, there was something like about him, like when. Like towards the end when he was telling Elle how, oh, you guys think that you're gonna win, aren't you? That when he said that instantly reminded me of Thanos when he was talking to Thor and he said you should have went for the head. Yeah. And then he just snapped. Yeah. That made me wanted to slap him because I was like, he's really going to end everything, you know? That made me so mad.
Yeah. Are we talking at the end of volume 2?
Yeah.
Yeah. People are already memeing that that Nancy should have gone for the head. They're already making memes that when Nancy's badass moment with the shotgun, great. They're throwing Molotovs. They're like, and then she's just shooting him with a shotgun. It is kind of cheesy. He goes, whoa, like he gets shot, and then he just like, I fall out the window. Like, I don't know. I thought that was funny. That wasn't even like.
Yeah.
So wait, with that part when he fell out the window.
Yeah.
And when they went to go check and his body wasn't there, is that because he
disintegrated?
Oh, I can't. Yes.
Yeah.
Is that because he did that, or he ended up walking away because Will said that he still felt him?
He just walked away.
Yeah. He's like, oh, ow.
Because I mean, like when Elle and Billy were having their fight off.
Yeah.
And she knocked him out of the building, and he was just laying there, but then he got up and walked away. I mean,
when was that?
Happen? That was
Season
when he
3?
was in the boiler room. Yeah,
oh yeah.
Season 3. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I don't know. I'd like to think that like they knocked. By the way, I don't like calling him Vecna because he never calls himself Vecna, and Vecna is a character from D&D, and it's just the kids like trying to create parallels. Anyway, Vecna. They knock him out of the thing, and he hits the ground, and like a couple seconds later, they come down the stairs to be like, "Yeah, where's the body?" Like he's hiding. He's hiding in the bushes. Like he's just like, I hope they don't see me, please. Like yeah, or he disintegrated and he just like teleported someplace else. I don't know.
No, that was very comical. That was a very like comical take of him flying out the window. And like, I mean, and it was like, I remember like trying not to scream at Nancy, like, come on, get a better aim on that gun.
Yeah. Also, I was kind of afraid they were throwing Molotov cocktails everywhere. I'm like, you're going to burn the house down with you in it?
Right.
Not a smart thing. Not smart. I'm trying to keep track of like all the different groups. We had Joyce and Hopper in Russia.
Yeah. And I love that Joyce and Hopper moment when they got interrupted by the phone call.
Oh my gosh.
Wait, what happened?
So they were kissing because she's like, well, let's not just wait for like our date to happen. We just do it right now. And I was like thinking, I'm like, they're not going to have them like do anything crazy, are they? And then the phone rings and I'm like, okay, good.
Yeah. It's not that type of Netflix show.
Exactly.
Yeah. I like the fact that like they keep commenting that like Hopper looks different because he does. Like he's so much skinnier now.
Mm-hmm.
But like, what did the actor get skinny for? Because in Black Widow, he's not skinny. I think he beefed up.
So I guess it was
that.
for this role. I think it was for just.
I think
him being
it
Hopper.
was for this, but I think it also might have been for like personal health reasons, you know, because like maybe he just wanted to like, hey, like I've gained all this weight for, you know, and it might be maybe hold on, like, because we don't know what else they're filming too, like in the work. So it might be for something else he's yet to like come out saying he's part of.
It's weird though. It's weird seeing him shirtless and being like, oh, that's like superhero body. Like, no, he's a dad. Like, where's his dad bod?
Dad bod?
Wait, what?
Yeah.
Come on, man. You're like, what, 40 something? Like, it's cool. It's fine. You don't have to compete with Chris Evans and stuff. How old is he? He's married to Lily Allen. I don't know if you knew that.
Yeah.
Which I love. And they live in London.
Oh.
They do?
He's 47.
Mm-hmm. 47.
There we go. Interesting. So what was I saying? Oh, so their plot line is like get the helicopter started. Hopefully that the Russian guy, whatever his name is, I forget.
Well, I thought it was a weird plot for like it was a pretty far-fetched plot for them to go back to harm the Demogorgon so that it would give Al some kind of leverage. I understand like what else could they do because they were all the way in freaking Russia. like it can get there in time. So they did all that they could over there. But I was just like, what?
Was that the goal?
So they were trying to kill the Demogorgons so that would hurt Vecna.
Really?
So that she could win.
Yeah, because of the hive mind.
How they didn't know about Vecna and all that stuff. I thought they were just going back to kill it because there's monsters loose in the thing. Oh no, it's because they said there's a gate open. That's how they have that cloud thing. Is that cloud thing from season 2? Is that what went into Will's body?
The mind flayer?
Yeah, the mind flayer cloud thing. That's from season 2, right? Like it went into Will. So they were like, okay, we recognize that. We got to defeat those guys because they haven't been able to work it out with Elle. Like Elle hasn't been able to talk with them. They don't know about what's going on.
They only know that something's going on in Hawkins. Like they don't know exactly what is going on, but they are like, I think there's a specific line that Joyce says where all of a sudden she knows like, hey, this is how we're going to help our kids out because they must be in trouble. Yeah. Because of this, you know?
Huh. I just thought they just went back to like, be like, we gotta, they, what, heard? No, I forget what, they thought the gate was open back. Or something. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. They were trying to get back like as soon as possible. And then when they figured out that wasn't an option, they were like, well, let's do what we can from here.
Yeah.
Wait, what was on the phone call again? Like, what did the person say on the phone? If you remember?
They were trying to call the American CIA lady, right?
Oh, she was the one who told them, I think, right? They were trying to call her, and she said something that made them know, like, hey, something's wrong. I forgot what she said, though.
Yeah.
But that was part of that. That's what tied in them wanting to go and kill the Demogorgon.
Okay. Yeah.
That makes sense.
Because there's one demo dog, whatever, right?
Yeah.
Then there was one Demogorgon.
And then there was all those little like embryos of ones floating around.
It's because the cloud thing got into those embryos and then like
and made them full flourish, yeah.
I think they could explain that a little bit better.
But how did they even get so much of the Demogorgons though?
Because they opened up their own gate, right?
They opened up their own gate, and then they also had one that was like spread out on the table that was open.
Oh yeah.
So I don't know if they started breeding them or figured out a way to like formulate their own embryos.
Yeah.
Yeah, because the way that they're holding them as like little embryos, I was like, what? And then Hopper just like goes up and like blasts that one that's like.
I'm so glad that he did that and that he didn't wait.
Yeah. Well, was it Hopper just like killing an easy kill, or was he actually sympathetic for this like opened up demo dog?
No, I think
it could have been a little bit of both.
Fair. Hopper with the sword, overkill, or
that came out of nowhere.
I was like, where's the sword from?
See the sword?
Where did that sword come from?
Was it from the scene where they all had to choose weapons? Is it from that scene? And so like the weapons are just lying around now?
Maybe. That would be a good explanation because I was like, why is there a random sword just like there?
He pulls it out of the sorting hat. Like from Harry Potter. It's like, what? Godric Gryffindor's sword? Sorry, Sierra, what were you saying?
No, I was saying that's when I was screaming, he better go for the head. Yeah. Because he just kept missing and stuff like that. I was like, come on, just focus. You got this.
Yes.
I just also thought to myself, like Hopper doesn't have any training with a sword. He's shot guns before. True. But like he's running at him like he's Highlander and like just like like I don't know whether it's that intuitive to pick up a sword and just okay, I'm gonna slice a demon in half. But he did it.
Yeah,
he did it. Again, I thought Murray was gonna die.
Same.
I think a lot of people thought Murray was gonna die.
Yeah.
Everyone was okay. So I'm sure you guys saw TikToks go around how everyone was saying like 5. Where did people get this? Like 5 characters are going to die. Where did that come from?
Supposedly they tweeted that like at least 5 characters were going to die.
Goodness, that was scaring me because I couldn't think of who else.
But people were saying that like in the end, it ended up not being 5 main characters. It's like 22 dead in Hawkins, so like that counts too.
Oh, okay.
It's like basically they're just saying that there would be more deaths, right?
And then Max dies for a minute. So
Wait, what'd you say?
I said, and then you have to count that Max died for a minute.
Let's talk about this leading up because I was scared for so many different reasons, and then like Erica's on the outside. She's in the thing. She's with the thing. And then the one guy like comes at her and she's what, 12? Like
she's a 10, kid, she's a baby.
Whatever. I felt gross.
Yeah.
With that, like he catches up, he tackles her, he says he's gonna break her arm, whatever. Some people on Reddit were like, they were thinking something else would happen. It's like Stranger Things is not like that, but
real life is so that's freaking scary.
Yeah.
I'm also like I got like I was about to say I got a little sister, but like she's not little anymore. She's 4 years younger than me, but she's an adult now. But like the whole like Lucas and Erica are like, okay, me and my sister, you know?
Yeah.
And so like, if anyone tried that, like, I don't know. I had this like other level of disgust on top of all that.
Mm-hmm.
And then what's the Jocks guy's name? Joshua or Jason? Jason. Okay. He comes at Lucas with a gun
when he died. That made me mad too.
Yeah. Yeah. Mm-hmm. There's no redemption for that character. Some people online were like, "Oh, I wanted him to like be redeemed, like join the group," and was like, "No.
Oh no.
No. I'm glad I
am so happy.
Yes.
That was the only part that cheered me up in between the deaths. Like goodness.
Yeah. Nobody here, I mean, it's all right. What were our thoughts about Jason?
Never liked him. Like when they were at the when we first got introduced to him, I think it was at the pep rally.
Yeah.
And he was talking, and then he did like his little thing to Chrissy. I was like, typical.
Well,
yeah.
It was always very much that feeling. And I think people also forget, and it's funny because I also saw this like going around where people were talking about like, oh man, the 80s must have been like a really hard time for people. Like, I don't remember bullying me that bad, whatever. And I was like, well, that was the thing is, it gets expressed in different ways. Now there's cyberbullying, right. Back in the 80s and 90s and stuff, there wasn't cyberbullying. So they just like, if you had a problem with a person, they took it out like right there,
Right.
And so like, that's the thing that I'm glad that they still showcase that. But the moment, and I this is kudos to the actor because he made me hate him right from the get-go of the way that he interacted and that gross uppy feeling you had of him, the way he treated Chrissy. You were just like, something's not right with this guy.
Yeah. I mean, he was the one I was hating throughout season. Like, he was the villain of Volume 1 for me. Like, over Vecna even. Like, I'm just like, I was very interested to see how that plot worked out. I'm glad Lucas didn't get, like, caught up in that.
Oh, gosh, yeah.
Like, I felt like they were leading towards that, and I'm like, no, why would Lucas? No. And then he was like, no, Lucas, like, ran away. But this Jason... Like, he had multiple points in which he could have stopped, and it ends up with him going into that house, pulling a gun on Lucas, which again is
stubborn.
What's that?
He's so stubborn. Doesn't want to listen.
All because he can't accept the fact that like Chrissy had problems and she didn't want to come to him because he's a psychopath.
Yeah.
Like, or a sociopath. I'm not sure. Anyone have a degree?
I would say it would probably have to be sociopath. I'm a behavioralist by trade.
Okay.
So
yeah.
It's very much where it's an overindulgence of himself where he believes that because that's the thing why you said like he's so stubborn is because he believes he's correct.
Always.
And how dare she go anywhere than where I am, giving her the love and supplying her with all of this affection.
Right.
Yeah.
And things that we see in real life are like toxic people and manipulators try to cut you off from all other sources of support. And they make themselves, they center themselves as your only lifeline, right?
Yeah.
And
exactly.
That's Jason and Chrissy. I'm so glad he died, but up until that point, I'm so scared. I was so scared.
Yeah.
I didn't think Lucas was gonna get shot, but also just the imagery of that imagery of that just hit me hard.
Yeah.
Oh, and I had a. Oh, go ahead.
Oh no, I was just gonna say, like, one thing I was a little like, because being the person that like needs to know the why of what's happening to these kids, this season really hit strong because all of a sudden, like, boom, that kid was dead. Next episode, that other kid was dead. And we only got like glimpses of what their guilt came from. Like, I still want to know what the hell Christy felt bad for with her parents.
Yeah.
I think it was a self-image thing.
Well, that was the thing is we saw that her parents, her mom mostly was giving her a lot of slack. It was a lot of eating disorder and stuff related. But like when she goes to her dad and like he's there and he's like looking, I was like, did something happen to cause? Because it's one thing because I myself have body dysmorphia, so I know like all that stuff can play into you. But her feeling that bad about something, it looked like it was fleshed out to be something a little bit more than not being good enough, And same thing with the kid that was helping Nancy, like the fact that he we saw like, oh yeah, he let somebody die. Like what happened? What caused that accident, or what was there more in there? Because their guilt had to be so deeply rooted. Like with Nancy, her feeling back that she just like didn't care about her friends' feelings or what happened to her, and she's being selfish, basically.
Yeah.
Caused all her guilt. And then with Max basically feeling the same way, like she kind of was like, yeah, no, I'm not going to sacrifice myself for my brother because he's a piece of shit. And feeling bad because she felt that way about him,
Yeah.
And then with like the other character, I forgot his name, but the other kid that was on the basketball team.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, what did they ever show like what he was guilty about?
I think his dad was beating him.
Oh.
I think that's what it was. But again, these are all like different levels of like guilt, because the kid who let someone die or was responsible for a death in some way, shape, or form, I feel like that's pretty egregious, right?
Yeah.
But then you have Chrissy. Okay, but like what, like maybe it's not guilt, it's just trauma. It's trauma based, because then it's not your fault and it's not a guilt thing, but trauma can also bring shame to it. So, but like, I don't know. Chrissy definitely lost, like, had the most potential, and we lost her so soon.
Yeah. She was that first one that we had to see brutally murdered that way. That was intense.
Oh, this has been the goriest season. Just.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. I had nightmares because I decided to stay up like late at night to finish watching the last 3 episodes.
Yeah.
I got nightmares from that. Crazy.
It was just gross. Just taking it back to the scene with Jason and Lucas. Max needs her music and he accidentally steps on it.
Yeah. Wait, sorry. That's where I had my question. So I'm going to make a video on this, but this is where I have my question. So I saw like people like theorizing, or it's actually confirmed that because the only reason that Will survived the Upside Down was because he was singing his song. So that made me wonder, could Lucas have just sang the Kate Bush song?
I was thinking about
wanted
that.
him to.
Yeah, that's what I was hoping for. I thought he was going to sing that because Caleb has a really good voice, so I thought he was going to sing.
Yeah,
but
That would have been cool.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I also think that Lucas is underutilized in every single season.
Oh, 100%.
I feel like the most interesting he's been is because of his relationship with Max, but I don't think that's fair to Lucas.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's kind of similar to, in a weird way, it's similar to a lot of female characters in fiction and media where their only purpose is linked to the man. I feel like Lucas's purpose is linked to Max because now they've started to flesh out Max as like a full character, and she's doing a great job. Great. But then sure, I'm rooting for Lucas and Max. Like, you know, their love is pure. Like I love them together. That's like, I'm shipping them. Great. But also Lucas, I don't know. Lucas is.
Do you see that they're? Do you see that they're doing that to Mike too? Like they're just making it all about Mike and Elle's relationship.
Oh
yeah.
Like Mike actually used to be somewhat of a good character, and now he's just so head over heels for Elle. And it's just like,
and they kind of address that though. That's the funny thing of them making fun of themselves in that way, where he tells her, I feel like I'm just like this. And that's why it's so funny to hear that that's exactly what's happening to him on the show is happening to him in their real life, you know, is that he's just becoming more of a backseat character.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, because as Elle is becoming more and more powerful, she's becoming more and more like a superhero. Then this is just the Elle show, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it's fine, but like, let's talk about, because I think it's worth talking about the group of Elle, Mike, Will, Jonathan, Argyle. But like, Mike hasn't done anything of note, and if I was gonna say like who I would choose to die in this season, Mike would have been fine. I'm cool with it. I don't. Who would you have let go if somebody had to have died this season?
Like out of like the main like from the beginning,
out
like
of
season
like,
1 beginning?
I mean you could, but like out of anyone, out of the core, it's like a core 12 now, right?
This. I have no investment in Nancy or Jonathan. I'm just gonna say it.
Okay, fair.
Because like I don't think that like I'm not a huge fan of Jonathan. I don't like their relationship. Steve, at least we've seen growth from. Like he was like this piece of shit. He took a look inward. Him and Robin's relationship, I love how pure it is. That there's like this funny thing because, you know, like there's no interest there, but there's interest there like for him, you know, because he's very still fighting being into himself and stuff, which I love that they carried that throughout the seasons. He never lost part of his character, even though he's growing on himself and working on himself. But honestly, like I was cringing when they implied that Nancy and him were going to get back together. I'm like, no, like let's get him somebody else. We don't need to go dabble back into the past or anything like that. Like, I don't know. True. I was just not a huge fan of Nancy's character either. I was like, she just seems, honestly, the growth there hasn't been much for me. Like over the seasons, she started as like this overprivileged, you know, girl, you know, who like got everything she wants. And then something happened to her brother. Okay. Nothing really happened to her. And then she's just still, you know, seen as like that it girl in high school who's smart and pretty and the guys want her and stuff like that. So I was like, honestly, if Jonathan goes and tries to save her and they both die, oh well.
I mean, that would have been a ballsy move.
And then at least it would give like some kind of like something to Jonathan, like he actually cared about her. Like he's like, no, Steve, I've got it, and goes in there and then they die and whatever. And then we still get Steve. And then he's like, all right, cool.
I think it would be a subversion of the trope of the love triangle between Steve, Nancy, and Jonathan if Jonathan and Nancy got stuck in a kind of mutual death. That would be like a subversion of that trope where it's like, who's Nancy going to end up with? I guess she ends up with Jonathan, but now they're both dead. So now Steve's alive and then Jonathan and Nancy are dead. That would be wild, right?
Yeah.
What if, crazy idea, what if instead of Eddie dying at that end, it was Nancy and Jonathan swarmed by those bats?
Not gonna lie, I wouldn't mind that.
And they like would have held each other in an embrace.
Right. Then it doesn't matter who Nancy chose. Nancy was with Jonathan and then ended, and Steve doesn't have to deal with that anymore. We can move on.
Yeah.
That being said, I have liked Nancy's growth this season. I think she has had a little bit of growth, not like Steve level growth, but the fact that like she's wielding a shotgun, we see her be like take charge. She's definitely playing like let's take destiny in our own hands and like have an active like part in the plot. When she goes undercover with her and Robin, one of my favorite scenes this whole season.
I just really, as a Nightmare on Elm Street girl, like I wanted him to make a reference to Nancy. I was like, come on, I knew Nancy once was something.
Because Nancy's the main girl in the first, right? I forgot about that. Yeah.
I was like waiting for it. I was like, oh, come on, you have him. He's right there. His amazing voice that still sends like chills down my spine. Like if he would, hello, Nancy.
Yeah. You know? that profile in silhouette when it first introduced, like I was like, that's him. Yes. That's wait, don't tell me. Freddy Krueger played by Robert Englund. Yeah. I was like, that's him. That's his profile.
And that was brilliant casting. I'm so glad they reached out and got him.
Yeah. Even if it was just for 5 minutes. Yes.
So you don't think that he would come back at all? Like season 5 maybe?
But what's the point, right?
Yeah.
Unless there's more
I think it would be overkill.
Unless there's more to like information to get.
Because he still doesn't know that it was his son that was doing all the killing yet. So you think they would tell him?
There are some weird things at the end of this season where I'm like, they didn't wrap things up perfectly. Like at the end of this, like, and I mean, we'll go over Eddie's death, but like at the end, like they acted like Eddie didn't die, except for the one scene afterwards with Dustin and you know, his uncles. So it's like they kind of did that. There, you know, are we living in the truth of 22 people died? Jason, nobody cares about Jason. I'm so glad. When Jason died, I wanted to see more pain. I wanted them to be more indulgent in his death because we were so indulgent in the death of Chrissy, who was innocent, who didn't do anything. We were indulgent in her death, but not indulgent in Jason's death, who deserved to just like we literally see him get burned in half and kind of like whatever, but like in the dark. Let's indulge ourselves with the death of somebody who deserved it.
Yeah.
I don't know. I wish. Will, Mike, Jonathan, Argyle. Argyle's the best character.
I love Argyle.
I love him.
Yeah. Yeah.
I love his whole like Cheech and Chong connection and stuff like that. It's so great.
And he moves the plot forward. He's not just he's not just a comic relief, right? He notices the tire tracks. He takes them he knows where they can get salt. Right?
Yeah. He takes charge of that whole plan. Without them, they'd be freaking lost.
They wouldn't have found the Nina Project place, and they wouldn't have gotten to the pizza place.
Yeah.
That's Argyle, you know?
Yeah.
And plus,
real superhero right there.
Pineapple on pizza.
Yeah. How do we feel about pineapple on pizza? I love pineapple on pizza.
I love pineapple pizza. I lived in Hawaii for like 2.5 years. So pineapple with anything. It's just amazing.
Yeah. What are we like? What kind of pineapple on pizza? Because I like a good like ham, pineapple jalapenos. Throw those on there. Maybe some barbecue drizzle. Doesn't have to, but you know.
Have you ever had like hot honey drizzle on there?
What? Hot honey? Like honey like spicy?
Yeah.
That sounds awesome.
That's really good.
I've never had it. Is it out? I don't know if it's out here.
I
would have to find a pizza place that has it.
They have it at I first tried it at Pizza Hut, so they should still have it. There's a place over. Yeah.
Gotta write down hot honey.
But there's also like a place out here called Sarpino's, and they have that on their menu.
Honey Sriracha, cool. Is that? Oh, Honey Sriracha is hot honey. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe Pizza Hut has it. Okay, I'm gonna look it up, and I'm gonna take your recommendation.
Really good.
Music Vibes out there says, I think they should bring Vecna's dad back. While watching the last episode, I started thinking his dad may play a part in helping to stop Vecna. It's possible.
Hopefully. I hope so, because I can't get enough of him. But like, I'm stuck in that. I don't want them to overdo it, because I feel, especially when it comes to those throwbacks, it can become a little overkill, trying to make it happen. But if they do it in the right way, and especially because we know that Vecna's coming, like, he was not defeated. They did not win. Yeah. This is still one of the only seasons where it's just like left up here. There's no like real resolution to it.
Yeah. Especially with the ending where they're like, Will is like, oh, Vecna exists. I thought they were gonna use that plot line or that plot point in this season. Will is the closest tie to
Vecna,
the Upside Down and Vecna, right?
Yeah.
But they didn't. Will is wasted.
I feel like they're going to. Yeah, I feel like they're going to. I feel like they wanted to mainly I feel like Will was more fleshed out as like a human, where we got to see that obviously he's gay.
Yeah,
like we know this.
Yeah. Why they're not outright saying it? Is weird.
Well, I mean, it is the 80s. You have to remember that. Like, it wasn't a big.
Robin and that girl is like. Mm-hmm. I mean, the whole Robin subplot. We know Robin is.
Yes, Robin came out, but she's obviously a bolder character than Will. Mm-hmm. And we also have to take in plan so that girl didn't come out yet to Robin. Yeah. We soon will be seen, type of thing.
Yeah.
But Will grew up with these people, and honestly, as a lot of my friends that came out to me, they said, honestly, we knew you were going to be accepting of us. We knew that you were, but since you knew us since we were like 8 or 9 and we used to play like that and different things, it's a whole nother element coming out to people that you've been around for that long.
Yeah.
Then to come out, Robin came out to her coworker because she was just like, dude, I'm not into guys in general, so it was just a bold, like right from the beginning.
Right.
I feel like if she had to tell him while she was discovering who she was, because right at that point, she already knew who she was. Will's barely coming to terms. And I honestly, as much as I don't like Jonathan, the moment that he had with him, telling him, I love you no matter what, like, just so you know, because he saw it. He started seeing the ways that Will was looking at him and how he,
the anguish and the agony.
Anguish and agony of not knowing if his friends and his families are going to accept him that way,
And plus, aren't they 14, right? They're 14.
Yeah, they're supposed to be really young. They're only supposed to be freshmen.
Which is weird because it's been, 6 years since season 1 came out? And, they've definitely aged.
Especially Mike. Mike's, huge compared to all of them. He's taller than Hopper.
Yeah. I don't want to make fun of these characters and their looks, but I'm just saying that these hairstyles are not doing them any justice. They're awkward looking as is, and then their hairstyles. I was looking at Will's hairstyle in season 3 is so much better than the bowl cut he has in this season.
This season, yeah.
Yeah.
Come on, Will.
What that is. They really had that in the 80s. The type that Will has now? Wow.
And the way they accomplished that was literally, that's why it's called a bowl cut. They put a bowl on the head and just
cut around.
Razored around, yeah.
Yeah. But that being said, Will's hair is way better than Mike's hair in this season. I am not a fan of Mike's hair. Because it's those bangs and then it's
and then it goes into the...
Oh, man.
Mullets that's a form of a mullet too. Mullets were really big in the 80s.
Yeah.
At least Eddie got a cool mullet because he has wavy hair.
Is Eddie's hair considered a mullet?
Yeah, because that's party in the front or business in the front, party in the back.
Yeah.
Because that was the thing is if you look back into the 80s, you have different forms of it. people had like more of the Joe Dirt one, and then there was the one like Mike where it's more like of a bull mullet.
Yeah.
And with Eddie, it's the rocker one where that's just like basically just like that disconnect. Anything that's disconnected is considered a mullet.
Okay. Is it fair to say that their awkward hair is because they're from 80s Indiana and not 80s California? Because like would they just have more stylish
Have you
cuts?
seen no, but have you seen the 80s in California? It wasn't much cooler than
I'm not saying it'd be super cool, but
because you look at like people like even if you go back and look at what's his name? Achy Breaky Heart's mullet. What's his name?
But he's not from California. He's not from California. That doesn't count.
But he was popular out here, you know, and that's what everybody would see on TV. Whatever you saw on TV is what you would do. Same as now, you know, I see so many people like now getting mullets or getting like shag cuts, which is basically almost a mullet, you know, because they see it coming back into style.
Mm-hmm.
I'm for some reason I'm just Google searching this, and I'm seeing George Clooney's hairstyle from the 80s.
Oh God,
that's a mullet. That's the Howie Mandel mullet that I remember.
Oh gosh. Or you think back to like The Wedding Singer and the mullet that Adam Sandler's got going on.
Yeah. Jonathan's only good scene was him and Will just being like, I accept you for who you are. You're my brother. Of course I'm gonna be here. But the whole somebody mentioned, I want your both your thoughts on this. Somebody mentioned that like Elle couldn't do it until Mike says you can do it, and like it's just weird that like Elle is just kind of broken and like struggling with Vecna until Will tells Mike you're the heart, which is weird because I'm like I never thought of Mike as the heart. Mike is super expendable to me. I don't.
Yeah.
What's the actor's name?
Finn.
Wolfhard?
I forgot his last name.
Oh yeah,
I think so.
Okay, Finn Wolfhard. I get him mixed up with the other kid from It.
Okay.
Jack Dylan Grazer. I like Jack Dylan Grazer. Finn Wolfhard. He was okay in Ghostbusters Afterlife though. I'll say that. Anyway, neither here nor there. Does that defeat Elle being like, I don't know, just being
like
strong and independent and like being able to do it? Like, why does she need Mike?
As being somebody like, because that's the thing is we're all people who, you know, the one thing that unites us as a human population is that we all crave some kind of validation or love, you know, and whether that comes in a form of romantic or whether that comes in a form of companionship or friendship or family, you know, and you have to realize at that moment, because I thought about that too. I was like, oh, that was awful. But then when I thought about it, she doesn't know she has Hopper. You know, she doesn't have Papa anymore. Yeah. Mike's all she's really got to give her that validation at that point, you know, and she's literally left with, I've got nothing. She's kind of surrendered in that moment. Like, this guy's got me. I'm done. I've got nothing else. And she, up until that moment, he never did tell her in this season that he loved her, you know? And for me, that love didn't necessarily mean like a romantic or whatever kind of love, like, oh, she's fighting to be with him. It was more like, I believe in you, you know?
Yeah.
And because it kind of brings us full circle where Mike was the person who first found her when she was at her lowest, trying to get away from being locked up in that institution, we get that moment of her reminding herself, like, no, I got this, you know, and finding it within herself to like really fight.
Sierra, do you feel the same way, or do you think it?
Yeah, I agree with that.
Yeah,
I agree with that, because it's like after Papa telling her that she basically can't do this, and then hearing what Mike said, she definitely needed that. And it's almost like, you know, like Hopper, he's fighting in Russia to stay alive for Joyce and Elle. So to have their love when he comes back. So I agree with that.
Yeah. Okay. Fair. You guys brought up Papa. I hate Papa. I hate him. I hate him so much. I hate his hair.
When she told him off, I was so happy for her.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh.
I know Papa's death was really easy.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
And I love that she didn't I thought that was brilliant. And I even said it in my head before the actress said it, because I was like, she better not be like going into it. She don't get sucked in again when she says, bye, Papa. Like,
I love that part.
I'm just closing this door. You're gone. I'm not having you infiltrate my mind or anything anymore. You know?
Yeah. When Papa drugged her, I'm like, come on. And then I wanted her to like take it out because it wasn't full, like it wasn't empty, and like use it on Papa. Like technically, if you knock him out and you're knocked out, then maybe you'll wake up at the same time. You know, at least it'll delay the plans. But if Papa didn't do that, she could have like saved everybody from those like military guys who came in. That Sullivan guy, I think that's his name, the military general guy. I don't understand his purpose. Like, he's just like, oh, Elle is bad. Elle's the reason for all this. But he's willing to like just kill innocent people.
Yeah. I feel like they are a little overindulgent in him, his character, and then the whole like satanic panic motion against Eddie, where we understand that happened in the 80s, where like any kind of alien like life form or whatever was a threat and stuff like that, or anything that people didn't understand was going to be like brought up in a negative way, and have an uproar. And I understand that that's their purpose in it, but part of me is just like, why? Like we could do without it. They bring really nothing to the actual story.
Yeah.
He's definitely like another form of Jason.
Jason Voorhees?
Huh?
Wait, Jason who? Oh, Jason.
Jason.
Sorry, I was thinking about Jason Voorhees from Friday the 13th when you said Jason, and I was like, oh yeah. You're right. Because they're both in this whole like raise the like burn the ground, burn everything kind of mentality. Hunt the person I'm hunting, kill everybody kind of way.
And
I
honestly,
hate Jason.
If we're being like, if I'm being fair though, I just am going back. We do need stakes here in the like real world. You know what I'm saying? Because if we don't have stakes there, then everything is just the upside down and supernatural and all that stuff. So I feel like those characters and those like little like
plot lines.
Plot lines or like I'm trying to think of a certain word stuck in my head. Conflicts and stuff that come on in those moments help us stay grounded in the fact of reality. Yeah. You know, like because we may not fight a Vecna or a Demogorgon, but we sure as hell will fight people in like the real world that are similar to Jason and to the general and to all of that, which loops around to why I think honestly, what would we do with Eddie still being alive? Like he was a criminal here, and it's going to take a whole lot to prove that he didn't do it, that nobody was going to listen to. So what were we going to do? What would you have done with the character? Like, because that's my whole thing of acceptance.
Yeah.
Of
you've accepted that Eddie's run his course. He died. Yeah. We can cry about it and we can move on.
But have you guys seen the theories of him still being alive? Have you seen the theories that people are coming up with?
I mean, people are going to be coming up with theories, but like, I don't
think
people
did that with Barb too. I don't think so.
No.
I think it's a lot of hope because obviously it was a great character. The actor portrayed it brilliantly. But to me, like, I think I saw a TikTok today, and I don't usually like get combative when I see TikToks I don't agree with, but something just made me want to write back to this person because this person straight out said, well, what if they let him live and then later on in season 5, they can give him like the death penalty? I'm like, so you'd rather him die for killing somebody he definitely did not kill than him sacrificing himself and him like taking like making an actual choice and movement as a character who's developed.
Right.
And I'm like, that's just weird. Like, why would you say that?
I don't like that.
Yeah. Or just hide the whole time. Like they're like, oh, he could have just went with Elle and they could have hid in the cabin together. I'm like,
no,
if you're being true to that character, like why
he wouldn't want to hide, right? That's the whole
point. He wouldn't want to be hiding the whole time.
Anymore.
Exactly.
I've heard a couple of different things, but like people say like the 2 days later, a lot could have happened, blah, blah, blah. But then that changes the whole scene, which I thought was like, I was bawling. Like I think Eddie's death made me cry, but Eddie's uncle and the hurt that you leave behind hurts more a lot of the time. And the scene with Eddie's uncle, by the way, if anyone has seen Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., that guy played like a part. You know what I'm talking about?
I do.
Yeah, he was Enoch on Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. He played a great, like, Enoch is so not emotional because he's a robot. And then in this, he's like a human being with emotions. Yeah. But that scene hit me the hardest. And I feel like, that scene wouldn't have meant anything if Dustin knows that Eddie is alive. Then that would just be Dustin crying because the uncle was sad, as opposed to Dustin actually sad that Eddie died.
Yeah, I can see that. Yeah. But like, because I love Eddie so much, I'm in denial right now. Right. So I'm still going to have hope that he is still alive, because I feel, for me, I don't feel like his story was finished. I really wanted to see him graduate. I wanted to get more of a backstory with, like, why is he living with his uncle? I wanted to see, like, the whole thing, like, maybe, I mean, we never know, like, maybe the town might do a whole turnaround, because how are they going to explain the sky looking the way it does and the grass is all gray and everything? Like, how are they going to explain that? So I would love to see, I mean, I've seen theories and they sound good. The only thing is I don't know how he would come back, because, I mean, those 2 days that passed, I mean, there could have been a lot of things that happened.
Yeah.
So I really hope.
Someone online said we could have blamed the murders on Jason. I thought that'd be could have been a cool twist.
That would have been nice, but I don't know how that would happen.
I mean, yeah, but you have to realize this is a small town, and they think certain things about people who live in trailer parks.
Yeah.
Who haven't graduated. But that's the thing that we always forget, that they don't live in like the now. Yeah. They live in back then. They also live in a small town. They have so much going against them to try to make people believe that the supernatural even exists. They thought freaking Hopper died in a fire, you know, and they were like, yeah, no, that happened. Yeah. Okay.
Not only Hopper, but everybody else who melted, like in season 3, the whole melting thing, like they all died in the fire.
Exactly. And then like, so that was the thing, to try to flip it and be like, to listen to these kids and be like, no, we swear it was the jock that you guys cheer for and love so much who did it. It was going to be a very far-fetched thing. That's why I do like Mike's dad's little input every now and then, that we get to hear him, because he is like the voice of the city, where he's just making all these commentaries about like these things.
Yeah. I hate Mike's dad, by the way.
Oh yeah, no, he's awful. He's awful.
And when Nancy's talking about the people, I think like either she's talking about people who love her or people she'd leave behind or whatever, she doesn't mention her dad.
She does.
He's so funny though. He's so funny.
He's funny,
his commentary is hilarious.
He's horrible. Yeah. Yeah. Again, he's not Jason horrible, but what we learn in life and in the media that we digest is that there's different levels of bad in different ways. It's not even a spectrum. It's this like people can be a bad boyfriend without being like, as far as we know, Jason didn't hit Chrissy, but he doesn't need to hit Chrissy to be a bad boyfriend. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
There's different
types. He definitely seems controlling.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
And like, I hate Jason. I hate, like, I like this show. I'm not complaining about the show. Like, the show makes it so that, like, even though I hate them, I like to hate them.
Yeah.
There's nobody there.
And like I said, I always like to remind people though, like, cause I said, I worked a lot in this like, Comic-Con like section and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So I always try to keep it grounded. We hate these characters, but the actors are brilliant portraying these characters because that was their job.
Right. Right. And if they're doing their job and they're making us hate them, great. Other characters that are doing a great job making me hate them. Was her name Angela? The one in California?
Oh, yeah.
Like those kids were psychos. Like all just ganging up.
Funny because like what reminds me of that, I don't know if you guys have seen the Chucky series. One of my friends got to work on the show, and so I got to meet some of the actors. And when we were talking during like the interview process and stuff, that question came up, like, how are you going to feel with people hating you because you're doing such a good job playing this character? And this actress is like one of the sweetest little things, you know, she's only like 14 or 15 years old. And she's like, well, I hope that people can know that like, I'm not the character.
It doesn't like, always happen that way though.
That's these people this way, but you have to have these extremes to make a storyline and a story flow.
Yeah. So Star Platinum Gaming on YouTube mentioned in the comments, on the contrary, I liked Jason's character arc. Jason doesn't have a character arc. Right? Like, he just gets worse. Like, an arc goes like this. Jason just gets like more and more like crazy, progressively worse. And then he gets knocked out and split in half.
Well, that's the thing is, like you mentioned, the only arc I could have like seen there or whatever is those moments where you thought like, hey, dude, if you just shut up and walk away right now, you could be a decent human being, like, and not even a good person, just decent.
Yeah.
Like at the very least, that was our hope for Jason. And that was those little moments where like those things happen. And then he realizes, hey, no, she died like this. And where he got to experience his friend like being lifted and the same thing happening to him instead of him saying like, we had that moment of like, oh, he could have seen that and been like, shit, like I was wrong. Like, what's going on? Like, what's really happening? Instead of going like, oh, it must be that you guys are doing some kind of witchcraft, you know? Yeah. And so we have those moments, every person has those moments of choosing, and that's why I said he's very much a sociopath, because he's choosing to ignore everything that's been presented in front of him to stay on the narrow-mindedness of this is what's wrong and everybody is against me and I need to save the town or whatever.
Yeah. The way I see it is like Jason doesn't have to believe Lucas because it's nonsensical. But then he's also believing the nonsensical other thing that fits with how he thinks, which is that Lucas is using, satanic magic. But he won't believe Lucas when Lucas says it is weird satanic magic, but I'm not at fault here.
I'm not doing it.
Right. But the way it is, like, he pulled the trigger on Lucas. Lucas just ducked. He would have, like, shot Lucas in the head.
Yeah.
Like, there's no coming back from that. Like, he pulled the trigger. That's not great.
Yeah. He was trying to hurt him. Like, he was trying to.
Yeah. What were we talking about before Eddie's death, Eddie's uncle, which broke me. That scene. What else were we? I forget what was our train of thought before that point.
I mean, I love I will say at least we got to see Eddie like just rock out. Like the fact that he even dedicated it to Chrissy too. I was like, aw. And then like, I know a lot of people say that it was nonsensical for him to just run back in because he had done his job. He distracted the bats.
Right.
They were going to go across. Why did he just self-sacrifice or sabotage himself? Yeah. And honestly, like, because as an actor, I like to put myself in those situations because that's what you have to do. You have to put yourself in those characters' mindsets.
Yeah.
And the way that I would target that character choice would be like, there's nothing else for me to do. There's nothing else for me to live for. What am I going back to somewhere that I'm probably, and the fact that he mentions graduation and stuff again, maybe he knows, like the joke in the very beginning that he says, he knows he's probably going to flunk again. And that's one thing that we always forget, that Eddie's a lot more older than these kids. Right. Like he's flunked a couple of times. They didn't say how many times.
Yeah.
But he's like, this is going to be the year. This is going to be the year. So he's probably like, what, 19, 20 at the time? Like with these 14-year-olds that think he's cool.
Yeah.
Like, what is he going to go back to? You know?
Also, he can't go back to school.
Mm-hmm.
He's on the run. True. He wouldn't be able to go back to school. He would have to clear his name, and he can't do that. But I also thought that the bats were going to catch up to him no matter what.
Mm-hmm.
So he can either like keep biking like to get away from something that is catching up to you, or stop, accept it, and stand your ground as you die, kind of thing.
Yeah.
That sucks. That sucks. I mean, the ending, it made sense for his character. What are you going to do? But, like, it hurt us all.
It doesn't hurt us any less knowing that it was going to happen. Like, and that was the thing, is I knew it, too. Like, the moment that we got introduced to him, I knew it.
Yeah. They always
so when I saw all of these TikToks of, like, if you do this, then I'm going to do that. I'm like, I wanted to go on TikTok and be like, well, you guys keep your promises because you guys going to like, there was a bunch of things where I'm going to cancel Netflix. I'm going to go to their headquarters. I'm like, I hope that Netflix has like security.
Right. Right. Don't be a weirdo.
On the lookout. Yeah. But that's why I said, and maybe I will make the TikTok and be like, hey, you can like be sad and stuff about it and go embrace the culture that Eddie stood for, which is freaking metal, hardcore. Go even just add some Metallica to your playlist, or, you know, like look up local bands that are performing in like the underground scene.
Yeah.
Catch a show, go rock on in real life.
I definitely think you should make TikToks about that. Tie it in, you know. You know, he may be dead, but like metal is still alive, you know?
Yeah.
I'm just still gonna live in my fantasy world and believe that he's coming back.
That's fair.
Because I still have hope.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's not done for me.
I'm glad Robin didn't die. Robin's been great this season.
Well, it's funny because we know that, you know, season 5 is supposed to be the end for this whole Stranger Things, but we heard about a spinoff, and one of I would love to see a Robin and like a Robin spinoff with like occasional appearances with Steve. Like I know that the actor who plays Steve doesn't want to necessarily be tied to another project for the next couple of years, but if we could give it to her and then have him like come as like a reoccurring character, that I would watch and tune in for. Like I think she's amazing. I think she comes from 2 amazing lines of human existence. And she lives up to it too. Yeah, Ethan Hawke and Uma Thurman. Like when I found out that she was their offspring, I was like, oh my gosh, that makes so much sense, because you can see both of them in her, and even in the like acting choices that she makes too is really cool. And I love that both of her parents were acting in like the 80s and 90s, so you get to go back and look at that tie too.
Yeah. Something that I pointed out in volume 1, Robin is autistic.
Oh, she is?
Yeah. She mentions it in not in season 1. Did I say season 1? Volume 1 of this season. She mentions it with Nancy that she can't pick up on like social cues.
That's right.
And that she just talks and talks, and that she can't do this, this, and this. Which expands her character a little bit more in this season than last season, you know?
Well, you know what's funny is, because I work with kids that are on the spectrum, and I remember, like, now I'll have to go back and rewatch season 3, because I remember telling one of my friends when we were watching it, because I love to see actor choices and knowing if it was an actor choice or if it was like something that came from the director, and if they were going to involve it in the character. And there were certain choices that she was making that I was like, I wonder if there is something that's going on with this character.
Right.
And finding that confirmation out was like crazy.
Yeah. Sierra, were you going to say something?
No, I was going to say like, is her name Vicky, the one that she loves?
Oh, the band girl?
Yeah. Is her name Vicky?
I don't know.
The one that she has a crush on?
Yeah.
Yeah. Because I mean, like she said like this similar thing too about not being able to like she just says whatever comes to her mind and stuff like that. Almost the same thing as what Robin said. So I was thinking.
Oh yeah, at the very end when they're doing the whole like drive or little thing.
Oh, when they're doing the peanut butter, the two peanut butter.
Which I think where I think she's gonna come out as bi probably.
Yeah, I can see that happening.
Who? Vicky?
Vicky.
Yeah. Also, symbolism there, which, again, Stranger Things normally hits you over the head with symbolism, but this one I don't think it was. The two peanut butter sides. Peanut butter and jelly, that's what we think, right? Just a normal pairing of peanut butter and jelly, but she makes two peanut butter sides. That's what I thought.
Yeah.
Wow.
Again, they're normally not subtle with their symbolism in Stranger Things.
Yeah.
But I thought that was subtle. You know?
I'm going to have to rewatch it because I was just so sad that I couldn't, think about anything else.
Yeah. That last scene is really good. The last scene in the drive where we have a couple of different characters, but we have Nancy. Wait, does Nancy is Nancy there? I'm trying to remember.
Nancy's there. Nancy's with Jonathan. It's so weird because we have 11 in the forefront, and then we have the pairs.
Oh, you're talking about that scene? Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I was talking about the drive where Robin is talking to the girl and Dustin is talking to Munson. But you're right, that scene too, that end scene.
Mm-hmm.
What do you?
It's cool because
they're all coupled up. Is that what happens?
Yeah, because it's. They're looking to see what's happening to the sky. And so we have 11 in the forefront, and then it is Nancy and Jonathan. And then it's Will and Mike.
Okay.
And then it's Hopper and Joyce.
Yeah.
I didn't realize that.
Yeah. Okay, yeah, because they're not at the drive. So there's 3 locations, right? There's Lucas, Erica, and Max are at the hospital.
Yes.
And then there's that one, and then there's a drive. Okay, yeah. What was I gonna say? Lucas and Erica and Max. Just so because I want to get my thoughts out about it. Max being tortured is should she have just died? What are the plans for this? Because
she's in a coma
with all just everything, and she's gonna be. Is she gonna be blind from the?
Yeah, that's what I was wondering too.
Go. I didn't want that.
Know. Well,
I didn't want that. It was
the moment that she started when her bones were starting to break and her eyes. I was like, oh my god!
Her eyes didn't pop.
They didn't pop. They just glazed over. But they stayed that way. And that was the thing is I was like, even if she comes back from this, what's going to happen to her? Going through she still went through the physical things that everyone else went through.
The bones can heal. She can come out of the coma. I'd like to think that we didn't see her eyes pop because she will get her vision back. Because if you were going to just keep her blind, you would just pop her eyes. Which, by the way, is super gross. I don't like this.
Yeah.
I don't like talking like this. But I feel like if the end game was Max is just going to be blind from now on, they would just pop her eyes and get it over with, right? Then she gets out of the coma, her bones heal, fine, but then she's blind. You know what I mean? And also, what powers does 11 have? I don't know.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. She wasn't always able to heal people, right?
No. Well, she didn't heal people. She just denied her death, right?
Yeah.
She was like, you don't get to
die. She just intervened in her completely dying.
Yeah. But it could be a healing.
Because she died for a minute.
Thing. Yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't know 11 had that power because that's all encompassing psychic power. Because superheroes don't even have that.
Yeah.
They're given a limit. They're like, you can move things with your mind, you can connect with people with your mind, and then there's the added level of like, maybe they can heal people. But like 11 has all of it.
Yeah.
Wow. I really hope they bring back 8. It was Elsa.
Was it 8? Yeah.
Yeah. I really hope they bring her back in season 5 because I think she'll like play like a big role in there.
Because 8 didn't
And she
die.
was the only one who
Yeah.
She's the only one of the other kids that we know is still alive.
Yeah.
After that whole thing.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, that, and then I saw there was a theory because who was with Papa when all the other kids were getting killed?
10,
10, right? So that kid could be floating around somewhere. Maybe we don't even know who that kid is yet.
People were saying that was Eddie. I saw a lot of people theorizing that was Eddie.
Really?
But yeah,
That's so
but
weird.
I was like, I don't know how. Because I mean, when he said that, like when Christy didn't remember him because his head was buzzed when he was younger. I think that's what people connected it to.
That's where they made the tie.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, some people reach when it comes to things, right? That's wild. But there'd be even wilder theories if this show came out one episode at a time. It would be WandaVision level theories.
Oh my gosh.
Because when WandaVision came out, people had a theory for every episode. Like
everything.
They were just
gosh, yeah.
People went wild.
That was the best time though, because no one got it right.
No. I did. What did I do? I created I had some theories that like came true.
Oh really?
Nothing wild. I forget what it was, but I did some TikToks on it. I was like, some of my theories came out, some of my theories didn't. I'm okay with it. I'm fine with it. You know, but Stranger Things, like, I don't know when Stranger Things season 5 comes out, but I'm sure people are gonna believe that Eddie is still alive up until what? Like,
they don't show him?
They don't show him?
That's gonna be me. That's gonna be me.
Okay, Sierra, you do you, because I can't. I think like,
but that would be my like I have more of a following on my Instagram than I do with my TikTok because I have a lot of unpopular opinions, and for that very reason, I feel like I would just get so bullied.
Yes.
And I crumble when I get bullied, so I feel like if I put a video and I'm like, oh, like, except I'd have all these Eddie stands like come at me, and I'd just be like, sorry guys, it's okay, whatever.
Yeah.
You.
I don't know how people are gonna stay in Hawkins. Like a lot of people have moved out. You can't keep a town economy going. What do you like? What's your job?
Yeah.
Well, how can you stay there? Your job would be at risk. It doesn't make any sense. Also, there's gaping holes to hell. Like, what?
I know this is gonna totally bring like a whole new element to Hawkins because everybody's been able to kind of just like, unless you were there getting killed at the mall, you didn't really believe that this was actually happening. You know, all the survivors of this are just the people that are the main characters, you know, so only they really know that this is happening. But now it's coming to the forefront of like, no, we're gonna have to deal with this shit because it's right there.
Yeah. I feel like, and maybe this is a trope and maybe this is just, you know, whatever, but like maybe this has been done too much, but I feel like the military is going to quarantine Hawkins.
Oh, 100%.
I could see that happening.
Yeah. But the military in this show has not been good.
Yeah. It's going to turn into like our lockdown situation that we all had to go through in 2020, where they're going to tell them, stay inside. It's not safe to go outside. They're going to just cast this fear, but it's going to be a fear from control. They want to control the situation and control the way that it's being perceived by everybody in Hawkins.
Maybe they'll slowly be like releasing a Demogorgon, like will come out of a hole and start doing things, and then another one, and then some bats will come. It'll be like Jurassic World Dominion in a way. Like it'll just be like these creatures out and they're like locking down in their house, but then, you know, they're getting in. Maybe they'll play that aspect of it. Does anyone have any like theories about like where season 5 is gonna be? They gotta like finish it off.
Yeah.
I have no idea.
Man, they left it in such like I've been trying to think about that, and I'm sure as time goes on between now and season 5, I'll come up with like 100 like theories because that was the thing about where they left us. Because every other season they left it open, but we were like on the decline. We had some kind of resolution. We kind of knew if this happened again where it would go. You know, where Elle, like, you knew we knew she was going to start the season powerless because of what happened in season 3, because she just took so much out of her and everything like that.
Yeah.
So we already had like a little bit into the decline of knowing where we stood with all of the characters. Yeah. I feel like this one, we have no fucking clue. Yeah. Like we can go anywhere from up here, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah. That's why I feel like we're almost supposed to have an episode 10. Like there's so much that's left out. It's just like, how are you going to leave us like this?
Please, no more of season 4. I'm so exhausted. The 2.5-hour episode of just
Imagine.
I know.
Imagine if they're like, here, we're just going to insert this number 10. It's only 30 minutes. Just watch it.
Like, what are their plans for season 5? Like, I feel like season 5, like, are they going to release it all together? Are they going to release multiple volumes? It's going to be like episode 1, 20 minutes. Episode 2, 7 hours. Like, and then it's going to end. And then we're going to get another volume 5 years from now. Like, what are they doing?
Yeah.
Yeah.
They are wild.
No, it's very that. No, because of course I don't like to look ahead to see like how many episodes are in a season and different things like that, or the watch time or anything like that. So when I found out that it was going to be 2 volumes, I assumed that it was going to be like, okay, we got 7 and then we're going to get like 3 or 4, like easy. Okay, cool.
I thought it was going to be equal episodes because they do that sometimes. Like Young Justice did it and whatever. Like that's what I thought.
And so I was like, I mean, if we got 7 episodes, I was like, oh, that's going to be like fun.
Yeah.
But I was expecting it to be about maybe 4 episodes. I'm like, maybe they're going to do 11 to 12 episodes for the season. And so I foolishly was like, even watching the live and him saying it's 4 hours, this volume is 4 hours. I'm like, oh, okay. You know what? I have work tomorrow. I'm going to watch the first 2 episodes. Realized that it was only 2 episodes, and then I looked at the watch time. I was like, an hour and a half, and then 2.5 hours.
Yeah.
What did I sign up for?
Right. And no commercials either, because we're dealing with Netflix here. There's no commercials.
Can you imagine if there was commercials? I think that would be horrible.
I mean, just the viewing landscape that we're in right now, like this is never going to be on network TV. Isn't that weird?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Because network TV is on the decline. Like, it's so weird.
Yeah.
Everything's so weird right now. And Stranger Things is still going strong. I hope they end it with season 5 and they don't do a spinoff. But I feel like Netflix is going to do like an anime. Netflix does animes for like all their random. There'll be like an anime anthology for like these characters.
Oh my gosh! Did you guys catch? And this reminds me of that because network TV used to do that with certain things. So in the one scene, Jonathan and I think Will are watching Ewoks. I don't know if you guys are familiar with Ewoks.
Yeah.
But it was like this weird cartoon version of the Ewoks that were in Star Wars.
Yeah. Star Wars phenomenon hit huge in 1977. And then it was 3 years later for Empire Strikes Back. But in those 3 years, they had to fill those years up with the something Star Wars related. So there was like Star Wars Disco and and like the holiday special that came out because people were jonesing for it. And it's so crazy to think that like you couldn't just, I don't know. It was a different time.
Yeah.
Not that I was around in 77, but you know, it was all hearsay. Yeah, I hope season 5 just kind of ends it. Does anyone have any hope of like when is too far? Like what's too far for this? Do you just hope that season 5 ends it all and that is it?
I hope season 5 is it. I feel like what I've seen in shows, whether it be network or any of like Netflix shows or Hulu or anything like that, is when they don't know like the actual story, it becomes very apparent.
Yeah.
So I've seen success in the shows that actually go in and say, hey, how many seasons do we need to tell our story? You know, because every time these shows get renewed and they're like, we have one more, we can crack one more out. That's where I see the story just like everything goes to shit. Like they're just like, okay, we're just doing it now to keep doing it. Like there's no real purpose to this anymore.
Right.
Yeah. Like a show that dragged for the longest is Pretty Little Liars. The first time they showed who A was, they should have ended it.
Yeah.
I didn't even watch the rest of it.
How to Get Away with Murder was the same thing.
Oh, really? God. I haven't even watched that.
Yeah, I watched the first 2 seasons of How to Get Away with Murder, and I was like, I can't keep up with it.
Exactly. Yeah.
I heard Gossip Girl kind of ran its course too. You know, those type of premise shows. I don't know what.
And that's why if they do a spinoff, first off, they need to have really strong characters who can hold it.
Yeah.
True.
And so unless they have like an actual like beloved character that we haven't seen much of, like a Robin or somebody of that aspect, I don't think they should even do it. Like if it's gonna be and then also when you get to like prequel type area, like if they did do Hopper or something, unless we find an actor who people are instantly gonna accept as a young David Harbour, then don't do it. Like don't.
It just doesn't fit with the continuity. Like if you were going to do a spinoff that was like a sequel spinoff, like it takes place from this point onwards, it would have to mean that the supernatural elements of Stranger Things don't get resolved at the end of season 5.
Exactly.
That's true.
And Hopper wouldn't have supernatural elements in his show either. But that's kind of the thing about Stranger Things. It's the characters and the supernatural stuff.
Yeah.
But there's a literal clear start of the supernatural stuff, and then hopefully they ended at season 5. Then there's no more stories to tell.
Yeah.
Yeah. I also think that some of these actors are going to get snatched up by the MCU.
100%.
My pick, what's up?
Wait, no, who?
Like, it's just bound to happen at the end of season 5. Once they're done, they're going to get snatched up, you know?
Oh, I thought, yeah.
But like Robin, like Maya Hawke, for me, she's my choice for Rogue from X-Men.
Oh, that would be cool.
And I would love it. But like Maya Hawke is definitely getting primed to be like a main character somewhere. And the biggest franchise is the MCU. But sure, some of them get picked up by Star Wars. They could get picked up by Star Trek, because Star Trek has its own thing going right now. They could get picked up by the DC.
Or they can be like, I always forget the actor's name, who plays Steve, and he just does an odd caliber of different movies and indies and all that stuff. I love watching his career and how much he's grown as an actor, because like if you look at Spree, did you guys see that movie?
What is it?
Which one?
It's called Spree, where he plays like an Uber driver, but he's a little off. You guys
no, I didn't see it, but I saw the trailer. I want to see that.
So good. It's worth watching. You really get to see this actor like really expand, other than just from the character Steve. And he's just done, like, I've seen a couple of his movies and things that he's done, and I'm excited to see what he chooses as his like next step in his career.
Right. I remember him in Free Guy, which was cool. He was in Free Guy, and that was cool to see him in there. But like, once you're done with one franchise, you're opened again to do like another franchise, if that's what you want. It's a big commitment, but these kids are literally prime superhero age. Like,
yeah, too.
So we'll see how that works, you know? Oh, and he was in Death to 2021 and Death to 2022, or Death to 2020, Death to 2021. Have you seen those? It's like a fake documentary.
I've seen Death to 2020. I haven't seen 2021 yet.
2021's good. It's funny. Okay. It's the same thing, but like it's like a documentary about the year. So you go through the events, but then you have fake characters being interviewed.
It's very mockumentary style, like Christopher Guest.
Yeah. I want to thank you two so much for coming on the show and talking Stranger Things season 4, specifically volume 2, but we talked about it all. You took time out of your day to be on here, and I appreciate that. Before we get going, I want to know where we can find you, what you got coming up, any plugs that you want to do. Sierra, where can we find you?
You can find me on TikTok at Quirky Kristen, and I have no plugs because I have nothing else going on.
Do you have any like TikTok ideas that you're mulling over for Stranger Things?
Oh, okay. Well, I'm supposed to be getting my Hellfire Club T-shirt soon.
Okay.
So I'm gonna be doing my cosplay of Eddie, in his honor.
Yeah.
And that's mostly it.
That's cool. Yeah. That's cool. And it's Quirky Kristen with it's spelled differently, right? Or it's spelled your way, but QUIRKYCRISTEN, right?
Mm-hmm.
With a CR instead of, I guess, a KR.
Yeah.
I shouldn't be the one talking. My name Dimitri has an H in it. Like, I'm not poking holes in your name. Trust me.
No problem.
But Sierra, thank you so much. You do great TikToks, and I love the fact that you're on this episode talking to me about this.
Thank you. I appreciate it, and I loved being on
here. Yeah, it's nice to just kind of like. This show was created just because, like, I'm going to be talking about this stuff anyway. I might as well, film it and put it on, something. So thank you so much for being part of that. Mallory, where can we find you? What do you got coming up? All that?
So my handle pretty much on every platform is just my name. It's at Mallory, but spelled like Valerie, but with an M, the way it should be spelled, not with a double L and an O-R-Y.
Okay, that's fair. Again, who am I to judge? I'm Dimitri with an H. That's cool.
Yeah, but yeah, Mallory, MCD. I have some exciting things coming up. I just finished filming a horror short. So if you're into horror movies and stuff like that, most of my stuff I post on my Instagram. And so I'll have any kind of footage there, as well as like different festivals that we're going to be taking that to. But it's a pretty cool concept, very hereditary like elements to it.
Okay. I've heard things about Hereditary.
That movie was scary.
I will not watch it. I won't. I don't do horror. Like you guys are lucky that I hopped on to Stranger Things, because again, if it's a phenomenon, then I have to hop on because I feel like I'm missing out. But horror is tough. This isn't that scary though. Stranger Things, I don't think at any point of this show scared me.
It's okay until you watch it at night.
I like more like psychological things.
Yeah.
Like gory stuff, I have to really be in the mood for.
Yeah.
But the psychological aspect of things gets you thinking.
Yeah.
That's really cool.
The Boys scares me more, because at any point in The Boys, somebody's head could explode.
And
that's just.
I have not watched that yet. Where does that come on?
Amazon Prime Video.
Oh, okay.
Do not ever read the comics. I'm a huge comic fan, right? So I read a bunch of stuff. But the Boys comic is garbage, trash, a monster heap of doo-doo. But the show is smart, and the show is so funny, even though it's twisted.
Right. Okay.
So just so you know.
Okay.
If anyone recommends the comic, don't trust them. Don't trust them at all. But thank you, Sierra. Thank you, Mallory, so much for coming on here.
Yeah, thanks for having us.
Yes.
And talking Stranger Things. For anyone out there who is watching us live or even after the fact, because we keep our episodes up, you're watching us on volume.com, you're watching us on twitch.tv or youtube.com, all of them then followed by /The Keeg Show. You can find us anywhere on social media with /The Keeg Show or @The Keeg Show. Mostly, The Keeg is on Instagram and TikTok. Those are our two biggest ones, @The Keeg Show. We're also on Facebook. We're also on Twitter. Obviously, YouTube, Twitch, Volume, so on and so forth. We're all over the place. And that's if you're seeing our lovely faces. But if you're not and you were just listening to the audio, you're listening to the podcast wherever you get your podcast from. Apple Podcasts, Google Play, SoundCloud, Spotify, iHeartRadio, maybe some other apps. Who knows? We got this podcast. This will be released as a podcast for your listening enjoyment. However you digest this show is up to you. Like, comment, subscribe, follow, click the bell, do all those things. Leave us a review. Let us know you're out there. It's nice to know when people are watching and enjoying the content that we have. The Keeg has multiple shows. I don't need to get into it all right now, but just know that like the Keeg Talks is pretty much every Saturday or every other Saturday. Next Saturday, I think we're talking Thor: Love and Thunder, because that's coming out. I'm super excited for Thor: Love and Thunder.
Yeah.
I'm very excited. That's like my one.
Yes.
I think that's like my major Marvel movie that I'm excited for this year. Is Thor:
yes.
Love and Thunder. You know. Yeah, thank you out there, everybody out there, for being a great audience. And thank you, Sierra and Mallory, for being great guests. I'm your host, Dimitri Pereira, and this has been the Keeg Talks, Stranger Things, Season 4, Volume 2. That's all. Take care, everybody. Bye.
Bye.
Super fast, gotta beat the boss and get the loot, cause it's the King, and we got geek news.